say welcome to Louis and Adri, and thanks for being willing to chat to us this morning. And I first met Adri when you started chatting to me on social media, asking questions about the Genie, and that's when I learned that you guys were also investing in a Genie and your adventure rig. Also learned then about the trip that you guys had planned to go to Botswana. Well, for people in South Africa, it's quite a remote trip, which you really need to be well prepared to be able to go and do that. And to do that with a Jimny and a camping kind of setup is something to consider and to prepare for. So then the idea just dawned on us, maybe we could chat to you guys of how you set up and converted your Genie to accommodate that, because we get a lot of questions from other people, and we thought that other people could also learn from the modifications you've done, which are then different to what we've done. And that's what's so brilliant about the Jimny and the Genie, is they're almost like a blank platform that you can customize to your needs. And I think that's what's really important about what we're trying to show here today. I think also what is unique about your setup is I think you're one of the first that I've come across that are actually using the Metalian tent itself that was designed to be used with the Genie trailer. And I think that that is a nice opportunity to showcase and to learn from you as to what your experiences have been with using and utilizing that tent on the trailer. And I think people would be interested to see that.
So we have the 2022 Jimny Auto GLX. We bought it last August 2022. We added the Sentinel wheel cover, Brad Harrison cable and fitting on the tow bar, actuator on the back door, and then we took out the back seats and put this front runner flatboard in, and this works well. So in the back we had our extra cooler box and then also the porta potty. On the roof rack we have 4 brackets for the jerry cans, a bracket for the spade, and underneath here also a bracket for the front runner table.
So from a Jimny perspective, have you guys made any changes to the suspension or the tires or any technical parts of the Jimny to be able to trailer with it, or is it a stock Jimny?
Okay, so when we bought our Jimny, it was stock standard. First, we fitted a throttle controller. After that, then we did the suspension 40mm tough dark. We also put 215 75 15 tires on it, general grabbers. The throttle controller that we put on, I thought, because of the Jimny, because it was an auto, you can feel it's like people complaining about kicking down every time. So I thought, let me try this and see, especially when we planned on going off-road, to play around with the settings. I mean, it's not giving more power, it's just to fine-tune the throttle response. It did a very, very good job of, especially if you're going off-road. When I did my first off-road training, when you're going through deep ditches and stuff, then you put it on a very low setting and you don't jerk as much as you on the throttle. So that helped a lot. And even in the thick sand, when we were towing, I put it on the sport mode. And that is when before you see trouble coming, your throttle, it already kicks back. So that helps a lot of giving you that little bit of more power when it kicked back with the gear down. You don't have to, now I must put gear down or what, because it's the auto, so it instantly kicked back. So you at the whole time, you've got your full throttle, I can say, power on your throttle. Pedal itself, yes, drilling anything.
Easy to install. We've also got one on the manual, and it's great. It's really, really great. We found even on the manual it helps. And then how did you find the towing experience on gravel and on tar? You mentioned the throttle controller that you added, and that helped, but just pulling the Genie along anyway, how did you find that trailering with the Generation 4 Suzuki?
Did we tow a trailer?
Well,
That's good.
That was actually our first heavy load that we towed when we left actually for Botswana. So I must say I was actually very impressed with the towing capability, as if the Jimny, as if you put weight on it, it keeps the speed quite stable. As I thought, going up, not like, yes, now I'm gonna kick down 2 gears or anything. Because it's an auto, I knew you have to be very easy, and before you go uphill, you need to put a little bit more of input on your throttle. But towing the Genie, when we weighed it, it was about 800 kilograms. And I must say, on tar road, I was very impressed. And you need to know when you want to pass trucks or other
Yes.
vehicles, slower vehicles, you have to plan ahead. But
Yeah.
I had a problem where I say, oh no, now I'm in trouble. I need to or brake or do something. Never had that experience on tar road. So tar road was very nice. I mean, you need to know you're going down to about 80 kilometers an hour on uphills, but that I know. So on gravel road, also I was very, very impressed. I've put it, as soon as we left the tar road, I've put it in 4 high. I must say the Jimny was very stable. Let me say, I first tried it still on two-wheel drive, and when we hit some corrugations, then I start feeling okay. The back started to want to start jumping around, and switch over four-wheel drive, all problems.
They
was no
disappear.
problem.
Yeah.
So it kept it very stable. And then obviously, because you also need to keep your speed down. I mean, I'm not a racer, so I keep it very slow. And then when we hit the sand, obviously before that we lowered our tires when we, let me first say, when we do the on gravel road, I lowered my tire pressures. I think it was 1.4 in front and about 1.5 at the back, and we also lowered the trailer. I went down there to about 1.3, and then when we went to the very thick sand there closer to in Botswana, I laid down. Front I went down to 1.1 bar, and at the back 1.1, and the trailer 1.2, and never had any problems further on.
Great.
And it was a lot of gravel and sand. It was from Chabong to Mabuasube. It's 112 kilos of thick sand. And if I say sand, it's about 20 centimeters deep.
Wow.
So,
very thick. And we had, our speed was around 25 kilometers an hour, so you can't fast.
Well, with the Jimny, like you said, I mean, your top speed probably on the freeway or the highway is about 100, probably just over 100. You're not going anywhere very fast anyway. And that I found personally was a comfortable speed at about 100 kilometers an hour, especially towing the Genie. So,
and also the Genie is right in the wheel track of the Jimny, and that's so much easier.
Correct. And it's incredibly stable. I mean, I watched in the rearview mirror, and Heather filmed as well. And that Genie just sits on the road, even on gravel, even on other situations. It's just behind you all the time, literally, actually.
So for your Botswana trip, I just wanted to ask you, for how many days did you plan to be fully self-sufficient? So you obviously had to pack your Genie and your Jimny with all of your necessary provisions as well as fuel. So I was just interested to know that.
Okay, so we went to Mabuasube for 10 days, and we had to be self-sufficient for 10 days because there's no water, there's no shop, there's nothing, there's no cell phone signal. So we went with, in the Genie, we've got the water tank, and it's 80 liters, and we had extra water in the car, about 45 liters of extra water in the car. We worked on 5 liters per day per person. That's to drink, cook, do your dishes, and wash. So we really planned our trip well, because with the Jimny and Genie, you need to travel as light as possible. Extra fuel, we had 80 liters of fuel, and we only filled that up in Botswana. The empty jerry cans, we traveled with that on the Genie. And when we filled it up, we put it on the roof rack of the Jimny. It didn't feel as if the trailer is swaying or the Jimny is swaying or anything. And because we were going slow, we didn't feel that. Extra food, because we were self-sufficient for 10 days, we had to purchase all our items, fresh stuff in Botswana. Then we were quite full from Chabong to Mabuasube. We did weigh the trailer before we went. We went to a weigh bridge, and it weighed 800 kilos then. And then we said, okay, we can actually remove some of the items because we had a lot of extra cold drinks. So we removed that, and then we only went with what we needed. It was big enough. We didn't feel that, we're short or need anything. It's really, everything has got its place. We ordered our Genie as follows. white to match the Jimny, braked axle, upgraded hubs to the same PCD of the Jimny so that the rims can be shared when needed, a water tank and filter, solar option and a 105 amp hour battery and the 220 connections, a nose cone with a drawer for the 60-liter National Luna fridge, drawers in the back ×2, caddy bags, gas cylinder bracket on the nose, tent with awning and sides, gas stove, cutlery drawer and the full Genie tent. We connect the Brad Harrison plug to the connection on the Jimny. We added the lock on the gas cylinder bracket just for safety, and then we also had the 4 jerry cans on top of the nose cone and we tied it down nicely. It worked well. So the empty jerry cans was on the nose. Our total weight was about 65 kilos. We had the fridge full, and this is the 60-liter National Luna fridge on a drawer system, and we extended the cable from the connection at the back, just make it a little bit longer so that we can actually take out the fridge when needed. We lined this spaces with carpet and some rubber just to protect our cables or the wiring cables, and we had some snacks in here and no dust went in to this compartment. In the kitchen area we have the gas hob, storage for other items like your foil or your braai tongs. We have the scuttle for the dishes, and then there's your battery. We just added this as well. These little containers we bought at Westpac. We actually have a full row of them and it packs nicely in there. In here we added the shelf, and we have our kettle there and extra linen, or you can perhaps store your chips as well there, but it's items that you don't use that often. You take out your kettle once when camping. At the back here you can see the 220 plugs when you are connected to 220, and we also just stuck some carpet at the back as well. We also asked for this little drawer. It works perfectly for your cutlery and it's easy to reach when you are cooking. These little straps, they work so well, and we use them to tie down all the grocery or plates in our little containers. We also had added the tap here. Originally it was at the back, and with a full tent you struggle to have access to the tap. So we asked them during outdoor campers to move the tap to the left hand side, and now we have the Hella plug here and a tap on this side. At the back we asked for 2 drawers close to each other, and then we have the gas cylinder connection here. We just use the old regulator to just prevent dust from going in, and then the 2 Hella plugs. So on the one side there was a tap and the other side a Hella plug. So this didn't work for us when you have your pod open or your little pod here, and then there's a canvas sheet hanging from there downwards, so you struggle to get in there. But this works perfect because you can access them and you can charge your phones or lights what you needed. We also asked for the table brackets to be fitted here, so a front runner table fits in well. And then the 2 drawers. While I'm here, we also changed the steadies. When you're on uneven surface, you struggle to actually know where to put the steady in. So my husband drilled some extra holes in it so that you have more options. So the drawers closes nicely. And then your 80-liter water tank at the bottom. So the double bed is an extra length double bed, and the mattress is super comfy. No backache. Here we have our DB and our water filter system with our spare bucket and a hose pipe and our funnel and extra items. We also store in these caddy bags, we store our electrical extra supplies, but cable ties, whatever you need. Here we have our 220 connection, our solar panel and the water cap. On the roof rack we have our hooks that we made for if you want to maybe tie down your broom, and then we have an extra additional tap here on this side as well.
The question on why you chose a Genie, and maybe just to start that question off, is my interest is, are you actually seasoned campers? So have you always camped? And if you have you always camped with a trailer or more ground kind of tenting? So is this your first experience with a trailer? And then were you looking at other options, or what made you or attracted you to go with the Genie as your setup?
So when we decided to go to Botswana, we first thought we'll go just with a car, just with a Jimny. But we are campers. We had 2 caravans, we had tents, we never had a rooftop tent, and I was never ever fond of a trailer. But we had a Jurgens Classic trailer, a caravan, which is a very big one with a shower and aircon and everything, but you don't need that when you go to Botswana. It's a stage in your life. So my son actually asked us whether we have midlife crisis. So why we chose the Genie is we looked at all the options. We looked at the XT65B. We looked at the Muremi, the African backbone. We looked at the Echo 2 and the Bushtech or Bundutech, that one. Very nice. But what we like about the Genie is that it's in the tracks of the Jimny. We changed our wheel hubs of the Genie to match that of the Jimny, so that we can use the same wheels.
Spare wheel, extra spare.
Yeah.
But what we liked about the Genie is that you've got your kitchen area, you've got your, I call it the substation. You've got your substation with your DB and your pump and your electrical items you store in there. And the other side is your kitchen. And then you've got your drawers where you can put and what I also like about the Genie is that you can design it like you like it. So we looked at all your videos and how to pack a Genie, and we learned from that. And we said, but we don't like this, we like this, and what we do. When we purchased the Genie, we said we wanted, well, they said, well, we put the tap at the back. And I was like, yeah, sure, because we didn't see the tent up and we don't know what it's going to work like. And we are very practical. So for us, it needs to work. And then we took the trailer for a trip at a camp, and we realized that this tap here doesn't work. And we went back and we said we want to move this tap because this doesn't make sense, because it's behind the trailer and you struggle to get in there with your kettle. They said, oh, well, they didn't realize it's a problem if it's there because nobody ever had the Genie tent on top. So we've got now the tap in the front at the kitchen area and on the other side at the substation side, and it works very well. And we said, okay, we don't want any grommets in that holes where they took out the tap, so we've got an additional help, because you always have a USB.
You always need a plug point, yes.
Yeah, so there's more than enough of that. So, and the other trade, the pros and cons, we looked at all the pros and cons, and we analyzed everything, and we said, well, you know what, the Genie really makes sense. And if you look at on TV, on YouTube or Malcomper or whatever, it looks as if the Genie is so small. It looks as if it's like this matchbox thingy. So I went to Gareth in Metalian in Cape Town, and I was on a business trip, and I went there and I thought, I just want to see the Genie. And I went through the workshop and I was like, I like the way they are working. The workmanship is very neat. I like the process they follow with the Genies. And I looked at the Genie and I was like, it's like chest height. And I was like, it's not the matchbox. And I came back and we started Googling where can we have a Genie to view in Gauteng, and we found one in Centurion Outdoor Campus, and we went there and we bought one.
Wow.
That's that.
And also what I like about the Genie is that when we looked at the other trailers, I see a lot of the other trailers with their rooftop tents on, it sticks above the roof of the Jimny, and
Yes.
that's in the way of the airflow. So I
Correct.
thought, okay, that's gonna even hinder your speed a bit more.
Yes.
And the reason why we opted for the Genie tent is that I like that little pod underneath when you climb out, because if you camping with your pajamas and you climb out, you don't want your bum in the air. And you know, we were friends going to Botswana, so I like that area where you can actually get rest and use the porta potty, and because we took a porta potty with to Botswana.
And everything is enclosed, it zips up close, so you're in a capsule there. There's no spiders or
Yes.
can crawl in or
Squirrels
snails.
Yeah, that's what makes it very nice. Very, very.
So that is actually something I wanted to ask about, that enclosed area. Does the ground sheet actually zip on at the bottom to fully enclose it? Okay, that's great. Okay.
It's like basically a watertight, like about 30 centimeters high. Then the zips is right around, and it's the hard rubber type of canvas. So it's not that water can come in. If it, say, would rain and water would run underneath your trailer, it won't be able to come in.
And then the other question I had for maybe people that have got small children, would you be able to put a bed or a stretcher at the bottom for a small child to sleep, or is it a bit too cramped for that?
I won't say it's a stretcher. A small mattress for a small child below 2 years, yes. But not, I won't say, you know, if you need to, but then you don't have space for your clothes and your porta and you can, for one night you need to, but I won't camp like that for 10 days.
And then the Metalian tent, how easy did you find it to put the tent up? And then, of course, to always pack it away is sometimes a little bit more difficult. How did you find that as an experience?
So the rooftop tent and the pod fits easy on the roof rack of the Genie. And then the rubber ground sheet also can fit underneath that. But when you put the awning, we did pack it once away with the awning on, and then it's a very tight fit. Okay. But it's easier to just keep the awning separate in your bag, because you do get a bag with all your side tents, the side panels and the awning. So just keep it separate. It's easy. And the awning itself and the tent to put up, it's straightforward. It's like a normal tent.
After about 3 to 4 times erecting and putting it down, we got the hang of it. So so it starts getting easier every time. But so everything fits in nicely. You tuck it in, and then you just put the big cover over it. And
it takes us longer to put a big cover on than to erect it.
It's maybe also a good time to say that none of us are sponsored by Metalian at all.
We are sponsored by ourselves.
Yeah. We do a lot of research, and you guys do a lot of research, and you buy what's suitable for your situation.
Your needs. Everybody buy what you need.
And the material of the Metalian tent, we love that. When I felt it in my hand, it is
suitable for a winter or for
good
winter
quality.
Or summer camp.
Thin and light, but still strong.
Yeah.
With the main tent of the Metalian, it's got the silver blanket stitch already onto the roof. So that makes it also cooler for us. That's what we were looking at when compared before, when we wanted to buy other trailers.
Okay, so that reflects the heat nicely in summer.
It's not necessary to put extra over your
you have to take a silver blanket with.
And with the trailering of the Jimny, and with your trip, and in general trailering with the Jimny, did you find that you're happy with the fuel economy at all? Were there any concerns with the fuel economy, or did you find that it's rather aerodynamic and it doesn't affect the fuel economy at all, really?
I was actually very impressed with the fuel economy with towing. I mean, we got about an average in and out of about 8.3 kilometers to a liter. I was actually thinking about more here by 7. every time we filled up right down the kilometers, and I was very, very impressed.
It
So,
seems to be aerodynamic and just trailers very nicely behind the Jimny.
and also because of the trailer running in the tracks of the
Yes.
Jimny,
Yeah.
especially in the sand, that makes a lot of sense because you don't have to drag extra weight in a extra track with you.
Correct.
So it's
Yeah.
everything just fitted in nicely.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much, Adri and Louis. Thanks for joining us today, and thank you very much for your input. And may you have many, many more camping adventures with your Genie and Jimny.
Well, you too,
Thank
and
you,
thank you
yes.
for the opportunity to share our experience.
If you would like to see more of our content, please like and subscribe.